Greetings, and I trust you are well. Um, I'm William Tayeebwa, a senior consultant at Ultimate Multimedia Consult and a senior lecturer at Makerere University in the Department of Journalism and Communication. I'm here in this module to give you a few helpful tips that we call the 8 C's of good writing and editing. When we are doing editing work, we look at these 8 C's as a mantra. We ask ourselves, have I checked for the 8 C's of writing, you as an editor? In this particular session, of course, we are interested more in writing. And we look at these 8 C's as proposed by Brian Brooks and Jack Scissors in their book titled The Art of Editing. And we want to propose them to you to become a mantra in your writing, but also in your editing work. I know most of you receive work from colleagues and you look at it from the perspective of as an editor. So they are the following. You ensure correctness. You check work for conciseness. You check your own writing for consistency. You check your work or the work of your colleague for completeness. You ensure clarity in your work. You ensure creativity. And we are going to talk about each of these shortly. And you ensure coherence as well. And finally, the 8C, ensure completeness. We are not saying that you cram them, but if they are mantra, you put them somewhere on the wall, or you put somewhere on your notebook or on one of the stickers. And when you are done with your writing, you check for each one of these for the 8 C's of writing. The first C, let's look at correctness. We know correctness really is to ensure that your writing is devoid of mistakes, is devoid of errors. It is the quality of accuracy. You want to conform to the facts and you want to conform to the truth the way you know the truth based on your company protocols and other protocols that you are aware of. It's an invitation for you to check and double check your writing to ensure that there is correct use of names, correct use of facts that you are presenting. And I think a good practice is to ensure that after your writing, you give your writing to someone else. When we write, we get so accustomed to our own writing that it becomes impossible for us to even get to see the errors that we have there. Check whether you got the numbers right, whether you got the names of people and of places right. Is this person called Maureen with an M-A or Maureen with an M-O? Is this person Brian, the way it's written there, or Brian? Is it Semogated with a double S or Semogated with a single S? And so on and so on. Whether you are using words correctly for what they mean. And here I give some examples, again, taken from Brooks and Scissors' book that we've referenced. So you see very many people writing argue when they want to mean urge, you know. They write adopted when they meant adapted. Biannual versus biennial, you know. Canvas versus canvas. The first one, obviously, not meaning the second one. Corroborated as in cooperate versus corroborated as in confirming. To disperse as in distribute or spread out versus disburse, to pay out or spend. Father versus father. You know, the first one being for great distance and the second one being in addition, you know, and so on and so on. So there are so many of these, and we have provided a textbook. And when you go on pages 97, then 100 and 101 of that textbook, you see so many of those commonly used words that you want to avoid. I've taken some examples from the NABER documents that were shared with us, and we're going again in the exercise that we're going to have to go through each one of these. Someone writes the tractor is in a sorrow state. So clearly this is an incorrect use of the word there. They meant sorry state. And then the second one there, the second paragraph, I think you can, we want to check whether um, this is really the fact. Is it the fact? You want to check, is this person making an allegation or it is indeed a fact? That's why we are proposing to you that paragraph to look at as well. The second C is conciseness, and here is when every word in the sentence adds to its meaning. In most cases, concise writing responds to that, again, that mantra that many of us have come across. Keys, keeping it short and simple. You avoid long, winding sentences that confuse the reader. If you can be able to follow the subject, verb, object rule, that helps a great deal in writing concise sentences. And the subject, verb, and object rule, that has been handled in module 3. Um, and we've shared notes as well. Concise writing avoids circumlocutions and cliches. And some examples of, again, taken from that book by Brooks and Scissors, some circumlocutions here. So a large number of meaning many, a small number of meaning few. All of a sudden, suddenly, as a general rule, why not say usually, at a later date, why not say later, at the conclusion of, after. So basically, by using so many of these words, called attention to the fact that, imagine 5 words, 6 words, meaning only 1 word. In the event that it is if, in the near future, soon, united in holy matrimony, a whole sentence to mean married, is of the opinion that, just means that this person believes. So these circumlocutions, once again, when we go to page 98 to 99 in Brooks and Scissors, which we've shared with you, you will see so many of them. Again, as a mantra, when you are doing your writing, over time, when you keep reading these, they become quite known to you. Again, we've provided some examples of unconcise writing in the Annabelle documents, and I think the main challenge we've seen with the Annabelle writers in the documents, at least we received, especially in the annual reports, those longer reports, is unconcise writing. Very long sentences that become very confusing. So again, we are going to look at a couple of those sentences, but there is, 2 of them here that we've provided during the exercises, the group work that we've given you. We are going to look at these. C number 3 is clarity. To ensure that you use common words, employ the active voice and avoid technical jargon, especially technical jargon. Yes, you may want to, depending on certain audiences, if you are writing a legal document, using those Latin words is not a problem at all. But if you are writing for an ordinary audience or a donor audience, or the kind of audience that Annabelle really targets, you don't have to use some of those technical words, technical jargon. Aim for clarity, be clear, and avoiding being vague. So again, the checklist for clarity, ask yourself, could I have expressed that point in another way? Keeping one idea at a time in a sentence is very, very important for clarity. Could you give an illustration? Could you give an example? Of course, there is now software, and again, in one of the sessions, we are going to take you through some of the software that help with readability testing. Grammarly does that, and we're going to show you how it is done. Yes, software is very important, but if you develop practices on your own to reflect on who your audience is, to make sure that they will understand the jargon that you are using, that will help a great deal. So again, we've looked at some of the Annabelle documents, and we see um, some sentences that are not clear. When you get a document where, especially you people, the NGO world and the donor community, you use jargon a great deal. I've been reading through your documents and I see a lot of jargon. And the question is, the jargon that were you using, have you provided a list of abbreviations? If you do so, that helps a great deal. Number 4 is completeness, which means the quality of having all the relevant information. ask yourself, is there anything missing? What else can be added, you know, to my work, to my writing to add value? And again, we've provided some examples. When you read a sentence in some of your documents and realize something is missing, the first sentence there, when you read it, you clearly see there is something missing. All facilities, including newly updated, pre-qualified and enrolled, including Gulu and Lachor Hospital, full stop. There was a full stop there. And you wonder in document marked 001. So you wonder, okay, what is here? I think those were minutes actually. So in the second sentence, in this action, Enabel is charged with 3 output areas and 9 activities, full stop. And then you read this was in an executive summary, and you don't see the three output areas, and you don't see the 9 activities that were highlighted. So again, that becomes incomplete. You want to avoid that. Number 5 is consistency, and it is the quality of achieving a level of presentation that does not vary greatly in quality over space and time. Your work should have consistent use of words, names, formatting. Again, Enabel has certain style that you use. I have been informed, for instance, even documents that you present, there should be consistent use of certain fonts. And I see the documents and I realize they are very inconsistent in terms of format and in terms of style. So that is something that we have to look at. So usage of the English language. Again, there is a text that we've shared with you, Kessler and MacDonald on pages 214 to 2018. They provide very, very many words where there is English usage and then American usage. So again, the writing that we do using Microsoft Word helps a great deal in sorting that. There are some examples here in the Enabel documents where you can clearly see there is inconsistent use. In the first cell, you see fruitful deliberation. Then in the further down, you talk about good deliberations. First one singular, then plural. So you know what is what. Such inconsistency in language, but we shall get more examples from some of the documents that you provided. Number 6C is the logical consistency, which is the logical bridge between word, sentence, and paragraphs. It is the state of ideas in your writing sticking together and staying connected. We want to see unity in your writing. So coherent writing pays attention to proper use of figures of speech. Again, we've looked at those figures of speech in module 3. And those notes, are with you. You can always look at those notes. Careful word choice, bias-free language, as well as correct use of grammar and punctuation. So when you do that, then your work will be coherent. In the first example there, you see incoherent verb usage. Simple tense, and then you are using gerunds. That becomes inconsistent. But also, we can see some inconsistent writing in some Enabel documents. A very long sentence there. When you read the whole of it, at the end of the day, you really realize that the ideas are not sticking together. They are not connected. There is no unity in that particular sentence. When you read it yourself, you'll be able to see that the writer here was not coherent. Number 7, concreteness is an aspect of communication that means being particular. You want to be specific. You want to be definite in your expressions. You don't want to use vague and general, statements. Concrete communication uses specific facts and figures. So when you read this sentence, the 4 grantees call to grants. So first of all, it is really, really confusing. Have been fully closed with the last 10% transferred. So there is nowhere in the paragraph or the document where the 10% that has been transferred is clear. So it becomes it becomes confusing here. Again, we are going to look at several examples that discuss concreteness to be sure that you are specific, you are definite, you are particular. If you say 10% transferred, Exactly what do you mean? Can you put that in figure form? Lastly, creativity. We're talking about use of imagination, original ideas to create something. It is a state of being inventive. Um, of course, we know that organizations like Enabel, chances are that use templates which adhere to strict guidelines, and it becomes very hard for you to be creative and inventive in your writing. But use of visual appealing content such as charts, graphs, tables, infographics, and again we've provided there is a whole session that is helping you to look at some of those creative ways. And we've looked at some of the Enabler documents, and we can see that some of you have been using figures and photographs. Uh, that document marks 011, we are going to look at it, but also, and we've shared it with you, but also we've seen again in that document a story of Miss Abuba Florence. Again, that is really creativity from the perspective of this writer. So those are the 8 C's of writing and editing, and we propose to them to you to become your mantra. When you've done with your writing and you are doing the editing, ask yourself, have I checked for the 8 C's of writing? I think that would be wonderful if you do that. That will improve your writing style, and everyone will be happy. You will be happy, and your bosses will be happy. So again, we've shared some materials with you that you can always refer to, and because clearly no one can have all this on the tip of your fingers, but if you have these materials and you can always refer to them over time, this becomes part and parcel of you. We want to thank you very much, and we look forward to continued cooperation and working with you. Reach out to us anytime. We are here to assist, and that is our responsibility. Thank you very much. Remain blessed.